Thomas, it's up for grabs now. Thomas!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira.
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it.
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Champions.
Good evening, everybody. Very welcome to another fantastic episode of Monday Nights in your Arsenal Lounge with the usual guests. Let's start with Lev. Lev, how are you? You all right?
I'm good. I'm excellent. I'm a bit confused. What's going on with this format now? So Tom is beneath me. Usually, Tom. That's it.
Are you happy now?
Like, am I coming through clear? By the way, I had a few more issues.
You are.
Yeah, no, good to be here. Good to the fact that we've got another 3 points. Some performances that went against us over the weekend, but generally, positive, mate.
Very good. But you're good though, yeah? Everything
I'm
is
good, man. I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you for asking.
My brother, Mr. Haidar, how are you?
I'm very good, man. I've had a good weekend. Arsenal have won.
Yeah.
All good in my world, man. Thank you.
Very good. Everyone's family, everyone's good. Yeah?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me, everything. I'm in a really good mood.
He's in his smooth hosting mode at the moment.
No, good, man. Tom, how are you? You good? We missed you last week. You had to do your Valentine's duties, but
I did. So did you, though, from the video I put up on Twitter. You may have seen. So
yeah. Thank you for that.
I don't know what duties he's talking about, Tom, but
What did you do?
Did you have fun? Was everything good?
Yeah, no, we went for a meal. This is going to sound like the most upper class thing ever, but we went to this pub, and like the Valentine's Day menus, and I thought I'd be a bit adventurous, and they did like a venison stuffed pheasant is what I had, and it was dreadful. It was really bad. It was really bad. I was like, never doing that again. I'll have fish and chips.
Do you want to give the establishment a shout out, Tom?
No, I better not. Otherwise, they might not let me back in because the beers aren't that bad. So,
can't really go wrong with beers. I mean,
right, well, as long as you had fun.
It was good, mate.
Should we start? Let's start with the Brentford game. Before we start with the Brentford game, should we talk about last week's prediction?
Hold on, I said we'd win, so I'm just putting it out there.
It's all right. I'm sure Mo's got it written somewhere.
Do you know what? I don't know where that pad is.
Mo went
is it now? You don't know.
Hold on.
No, from
Mo
memory,
went 3-0.
No, I went 2-0.
No, you went 2-0. I went 3-0.
I went 2-0 as well.
And you said 2-1, didn't you, Shaheen?
I said 2-1.
Tell me this then, yeah? When that went to VAR,
I was like, we're winning this game anyway. Please let this be a goal because I want to.
That's unacceptable. That is unacceptable.
That's ridiculous.
I was like, God.
This is the true competitiveness of Shaheen is showing here. He doesn't care about Arsenal. We'd rather win this competition.
No. We're winning anyway.
That's what you're seeing here, guys.
If we miss out on Champions League football by one goal, if we miss out on goal difference by one goal, that will be the goal.
That was my fault, wasn't it?
He would have celebrated Arteta getting sacked anyway, so it's probably thankful.
Fake fan.
But you don't have the book now, no?
No, it's not on me. But from what I remember,
you'll sort that out, though, yeah.
I will. But in the first week, Tom was the only person who correctly predicted.
Tom had 1 point.
Yeah, so he was on 1. We were at 0.
So now I've got 3. Tom has got 2.
He's so adamant about making sure, isn't he? I've got 3, right? I've got no.
No, you got 2.
Yeah, I've got. I was imitating you, mate.
He on 3, Tom on 2.
I'll probably mess it up now going forward.
Me and Lever on 1.
Yeah. What did we agree the forfeit was? I'm sure there was a forfeit.
I don't know we've agreed anything. We need to though.
Something about I would have to not wear a hat, which is fine by me.
No. Who told you that?
You lot did.
What? You not wearing a hat?
Check the previous shows. It's on there. I'm not lying to you.
No, we said we'll talk about it and we'll figure something.
We need to figure
anyway.
Why are we assuming it's me anyway? Can we just press on, please?
Because everybody probably have a feeling you will lose. So.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah.
Confident. All right. Oh, no worries.
All right. Well, let's start with you then, Lev. What was your thoughts on the game?
Generally, I was quite pleased. I think we played well. There is that little niggly problem for me up front is still bothering me. But we look like we have a good balance in midfield now. Odegaard is really starting to come into his own. He's starting to really impress me. The way he just, he just exudes confidence right now, and he's just playing very well. He's ticking, everything's going through him. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. 2 great goals from the Highlanders. I think the way Smith Rowe took his goal was almost Pires style, the way he did it, coming in onto his right, jigging inside and taking the early shot and catching the goalie off guard. It was a great finish. And Saka with a great finish as well, left foot. And what really impressed me about that goal is that if you rewatch it, as I have a couple of times recently, you will see that at the pace he was running, if he continued, he was going to be offside. So he held himself back and kept himself onside so that Partey had that option to play him in. So that I really was impressed with that. As I say, the only thing niggling at me at the moment is long term, are we going to be able to get the goals in the crucial games without an on-form striker? The teams around us, the one thing I could say about them, having thought about it, is they all have proven goal scorers in their team. Man United have, Spurs have, we really haven't at the moment, and I just hope that Uber situation doesn't come back to bite us, but I'm happy.
Okay. Mo?
Yeah, I was very, very happy. On the game? I think what I was really happy about was the fact that I really felt, and I haven't said this about Arsenal very often in all of my life, other than in the brilliant eras watching Arsenal, that we really started off on the front foot and played the game as if we were in the second half from the first whistle. Too often, I feel like Arsenal, you just kind of go through the motions a little bit and then we grow into the game. And I think to myself, if we can just get over the mental block of knowing that we've got 90 minutes, if we can almost trick ourselves into thinking we've only got half an hour, I realize you have to take calculated risks. You can't go all out right from the start. But I feel that too often with Arsenal, we're too relaxed from the start, and that urgency, that desire to get that goal on the board isn't there. But it really, really impressed me the way they approached the game and how quickly they started and maintained intensity. We dominated that first half, even though we didn't necessarily play very well. But I really felt as though there was that urgency in the passing, in the style of play to make sure that we, get that goal. And I'm glad that we didn't have to wait too long in the second half, because I feel like usually we have gears to go up. We might be in second gear in the first half and you kind of feel like then we shift third, fourth, fifth. But we were in like fourth gear right from the off. So that pleased me a lot. And, the timing of the goal was brilliant, because if it wasn't for that, Brentford would have been growing in confidence, thinking Arsenal have been having a long, long spell and they still haven't been able to convert that into a goal. But, the way that goal came as well, it's my guy, Smith Rowe, the one I've been raving about for years. And the way he took the goal, the class he exuded in that finish, the way he is one-on-one, two-on-one with defenders, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And it almost kind of came out of nowhere. When he picked the ball up there, I don't think any of us thought, oh, this is a goal-scoring chance. But he eats up the ground in a way where you don't even realize just how dangerous he is until it's almost too late. And that's both on and off the ball. Really happy for him. And then just to complete it, whenever Saka or whenever Smith Rowe scores, you want the other to score as well, just to round it off. And the stadium's erupting in that chant. It felt great, man. So I was very, very happy. And last weekend, a lot of other results went our way. This weekend, not so much. But it just shows the importance. You just churn out your results. Some weekends, you'll create a gap. Other weekends, you stay level pegging. But it just shows you cannot slip up.
Fair point. Tom, what about you?
Yeah, what's so funny about that?
All of that. And he goes, fair point. Anyway.
Nice.
So blasé, fair point.
It is a fair point.
Yeah, no, I think Mo made a lot of fair points there, and I think that I agree with all of them. And I think that what we'll see is that basically whatever team can be consistent in these last 15 games that we've got left will be the side that gets into the top four. Whoever starts to stutter is going to fall away, and suddenly gaps are going to open quite quickly. And whilst I know it was frustrating just a couple of hours afterwards, we had to witness what we witnessed at the Etihad, which kind of put a bit of a downer on the weekend. Yeah. But what I would say is that, Man City have been able to win one of the last 6 league meetings between those two teams. For some reason, Spurs are their bogey side. It wasn't like an Antonio Conte piece of genius or anything. They've had 4 coaches across those 6 games. So they just know how to beat them. I hate giving them compliments, but they're probably the best counter-attacking side in the league, and that's City's biggest weakness. So it is a match made for them. Ironically, I thought we played better than Spurs and still managed to lose against City in our fixture against them. So, but going into this game, I thought Mo raised a great point, the fact that we're playing in 3rd or 4th gear throughout most of the game. It wasn't a gradual build-up. We went in with intensity, and that's how we need to approach every single game. And we've got no excuse, really, because the amount of breaks that we're going to have between the fixtures, less so on Thursday, of course, because we play on Saturday. But after that, we have the weekend off, then a full week's rest ahead of playing against Watford. And there'll be no excuses then expecting full tilt, full time in that match either. So it's going to be a huge game on Thursday, but it should, this game, give us that extra momentum and boost going into it.
Yeah, I agree. Huh?
Fair point.
Fair point.
Very fair points. Very fair points. I also agree with everything that you guys said. I thought it was a very dominant performance. Which is what I was expecting that from this team. At home against Brentford, who first season in the Premier League. I think they're 14th, 15th, something like this. So I was expecting the exact same thing. There's only a couple of things that I picked up from the game. I mean, the midfield looked good, but then again, it was against Brentford. Up front, we're still a bit toothless because our goals are always coming from width. And another thing that's still I sometimes struggle to work out is why we keep putting crosses in. We don't have the players right now as it is. And I'm just thinking Martinelli, Emil Smith-Rowe, Saka, Lacazette, they're all short forward players. None of them are known for their headers. But somehow we keep crossing the ball in. And I don't understand the problem. I mean, I would have thought against Brentford, with the caliber of players, we have probably play it on the floor, play through balls, get Saka and Smith-Rowe going on that. So that's the only thing that I was watching the game and I was thinking, why these guys keep crossing the ball in? And that's what Brentford's defenders wanted. They just keep heading it out. Lev, do you think Martinelli's suspension is over? Right? So Thursday. Huh?
Yeah, I do think it is. Yeah.
So on Thursday, is he going to walk back into the team?
This is what I wanted to ask you guys as well, because what do you see the long-term solution to the current problem? Because the one thing I will say is I don't think Lacazette had the best of games. He toiled, but he was poor on the ball. He kept giving it away. His touch was a bit off. I don't think he had the best of games, and he's not scoring. So do we continue using Lacazette because he's that focal point target man that links play, or do we say we need to get goals and try to? Because look, we don't want to drop Smith-Rowe, in my opinion, but we don't want to lose Martinelli either. Because let's not forget, all right, he may have got sent off, but in that game he was superb until he got sent off. He was absolutely everywhere. I think he needs to be in the team, but then so does Smith-Rowe. So I don't know. I mean, what does he do? Maybe play Martinelli in the 9? Could he do that, or is it just the fact that he needs to be a focal point up top? I need to share that with you guys too.
I don't agree with what you said in terms of Lacazette being a target man because he doesn't have the height.
Yeah, but he links up play, Shaheen.
He does link up.
He backs into defenders. They play it into him,
yeah,
and then
You see, the issue I've got with this is he drops deep to get the ball and link the player. And once he does drop deep, then that's it. There's nobody up front.
Yeah, but then he also brings the others in.
Remember when he was playing with Aubameyang and he was working? He used to drop deep a little bit, and Aubameyang was there. So there was somebody to link up with. But right now, he can only link up with the guys wide. Mo, where would you stand on this? Martinelli is coming back in, or?
I think this is the question on everyone's lips, really. Emil Smith-Rowe, what more can he do to start in this team? Every single time he's played off the bench, from the first whistle, he's been absolutely brilliant. And he's got a goal threat, a directness to his play that I feel like sometimes we really need, especially when Ødegaard is the conductor and everything goes through Ødegaard. Ødegaard doesn't have that directness to him. And I think the problem that I kind of have sometimes when Arsenal play through Ødegaard quite consistently is that if you don't have the directness, you need to have incredible creativity or incredible subtlety of pass and weight and timing of pass. I also think, listen, Ødegaard is very, very good, but he's not great. And sometimes I feel like often we can be a little bit toothless. And I think that explains a lot of why Lacazette doesn't necessarily get a lot of the service and goes to help with that job of what happens a bit further up the pitch and where we want Lacazette to be situated. So I often look at the team and I think, who would I rather have in there, Smith Rowe or Ødegaard? And I personally have a leaning towards Smith Rowe, even though I realise Ødegaard is brilliant and he does great work. I just feel as though often when it's not working, I'm thinking we need someone more direct. But now that Martinelli is back, would I put Ødegaard in for Martinelli, or would I be tempted? Sorry, would I put Smith Rowe in for Martinelli, or would I be tempted to say rather bring Martinelli back and actually take who I perceive to be the weak link out of the team, and that's Lacazette? But now,
Mo, wouldn't you say that probably against Wolves, Lacazette will probably offer you a little bit more up front, physicality-wise, rather than Martinelli? Because Wolves defenders, they're quite physical. I know, Martinelli's he reminds me of Alexis Sanchez a little bit, where he's chasing up and he's chasing everything. But I just think maybe winning fouls, Lacazette maybe is a better option for this game.
You're talking about physicality and winning fouls and that sort of thing. Well, I'm more focused on someone who's going to get you goals and be in the right positions. And that's ultimately all that matters. Aubameyang has made a career on that. He's not good at the physicality, holding the ball up, the winning fouls elements of the game and all that sort of stuff. But for a long time, for the majority of the time when Aubameyang and Lacazette were both at the club, people wanted Aubameyang because he got you the goals. And that's ultimately what matters. I think this weekend, Harry Kane showed us, we have to admit this just as football people rather than necessarily as Arsenal fans, a consummate striker's performance and how much of a game changer it can be. Lukaku also showed us an absolute wasted performance from a striker as well, with 7 touches, one of which was kickoff. So let's say 6 touches and not a single touch in the opponent's box. An absolute wasted performance compared to Harry Kane. And I think to myself, Lacazette, probably in between the two of those points, we really need someone who can be that complete centre forward. And I think when Arsenal do get that, it's a game changer for our fortunes and the way we play football. Now, Lacazette right now is simply nowhere near good enough, because when he does get the opportunities in the box and he does get a chance, he's not hitting the target. When he does drop deep, I don't see huge chance creation. He got the assist from Will Smith Rowe's goal, but it's not like he put it on a plate for him. You know what I mean? I mean, that was, if you look at expected assists, that was not a high-ranked expected assist. So for me, in spite of everything you've said, Shaheen, I would happily take the risk of Martinelli playing in that striker's berth with Lacazette, the plan B, if it doesn't work. And it may well not work. Wolves aren't an easy team to play against in the first place, and Martinelli isn't a seasoned player in that position. So I can easily foresee the game not working out perfectly, but then Lacazette on the bench, at least maybe he'll feel like he's got a point to prove, because it would be a reflection of it not working, the fact that we've changed that and he's not that starting striker.
Just before I move to Tom, do you think Lacazette is already kind of got his one foot through the door kind of thing?
Well, I would have thought it would be the opposite. I would have thought that at this stage of his career, when he's going to be looking for a highly paid 3-year deal somewhere rather than a 2-year contract, I thought he would be playing out of his skin to put himself in the shop window and convince clubs that you should take the gamble on me. Right now, I don't think he's doing that. I don't think clubs are looking at him thinking there's not many players on the market that will be able to do what you're doing. That that comes with scoring goals. So that's
maybe
why
he's already agreed the deal.
But I personally think they look at Weghorst for Burnley. You know, I don't think that people will be looking at Lacazette thinking, oh, we can't find what Lacazette does. They'll be looking at players like Weghorst and thinking, yeah, you know, target man and got a bit of a goal threat and that sort of thing. So I think Lacazette should be better than what he is right now. And if this is the best he can do to muster up that last lucrative contract, it's not enough.
Tom,
Shaheen,
can I just say that is my concern? Sorry, Tom. That's my concern going into this crucial stage. Is the other teams have got proven goal scorers, just like we've been saying. It could make all the difference in the tighter games. But...
Tom, where do you stand on this ESR and Martinelli situation?
I'd stick with Smith Rowe. I don't think that. I don't think it's as clear cut as like Martinelli comes straight back in after seeing what Smith Rowe did. I also think that Kieran Tierney plays a hell of a lot better with Smith Rowe in front of him than with Martinelli, because with Martinelli he stays much more wide than Smith Rowe does. Naturally, Smith Rowe plays more incisively because he's more naturally kind of a number 10, so he drifts in. So Tierney can't often overlap or underlap on the outside. I suppose it is an overlap, isn't it? It's like overlapping on the outside. Just going through tactics in my head. But he can't overlap as much when playing with Martinelli, but with Smith Rowe he can. And actually, I think even like the number of crosses he had in the game, he made 8 crosses against Brentford. Against Wolves, he had 2. And I think it is that level of being able to overlap Smith Rowe and play with Smith Rowe, which helps Tierney so much more and makes him more effective. So I think that left-hand side is just a bit better when it is those two. The question then falls: do you play Martinelli instead of Lacazette? Again, I'm not so sure. I don't feel the need to try and force all 4 of those, Saka, Ødegaard, Smith Rowe, and Martinelli into the team. I don't feel the need to do it because, I mean, having one of them 2 off the bench is great, and having the option if things aren't necessarily working to come off the bench is good. It gives us more variation, gives you someone plus Pepe, not just Pepe, to come off the bench. Lacazette's our best striker right now. That's the situation, which is not great, to be honest, but it is the reality. He is our best striker as we try and go to get top 4.
But Smith Rowe's our top scorer.
I know he is, and that highlights the situation even worse. And again, when Mo brings up Weghorst, it makes my heart sink because we sat here during the transfer window talking about players that we could have got, and he is someone I would have gone for. And I don't buy the argument that it would have been, another mistake of giving a 29-year-old another 3-year deal, because we didn't have to offer him that. You could have, I think, if you had the choice between, say, a 2-year contract at Arsenal or a 3-year deal with Burnley, I don't think it's a difficult choice. So why not offer him? Why not go in for a figure of 12 to 15 million pounds of what it cost, which, you get back immediately plus more if you qualify for the Champions League. So,
and it could have been a 2+1, Tom, as well, at Arsenal discretion. So.
Absolutely. And I think that Weghorst is the type of striker that if you were to sign him, he doesn't stop you signing a big striker in the summer. And in fact, when you sign that big striker in the summer, the following season, when you are struggling for a goal and you're in those final 15, 20 minutes where you are just chucking balls into the box, who better than for Wout Weghorst to come off the bench? So I think that I always look back at that. The Aubameyang situation, which is something we may come on to because, of course, he scored a few goals for Barcelona. I have no issue with him leaving. The issue I have and the criticism for Arteta I have is that we just didn't replace that and that we're left with just Lacazette and Nketiah for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Got a super chat from Wayne. Guys, I'm sorry, but Arsenal does not score goals without Lacazette on pitch, which is what I was saying.
Actually untrue, but I see where he's coming from.
You know what else is interesting? Arteta has, sometimes he dish out harsh treatment at certain players, and Martinelli has been one that has been receiving on the side of this in the past. You remember the goal that he scored against Chelsea, and after that, he was just dropped. So I just wondered, because of that red card, would it be something that he would just drop him for a bit?
No.
I don't know. You know how the guy is. Sometimes he pulls some funny.
I think he's managed Martinelli fine, to be honest. I think he's unleashed him at the right time. He's managed his injury correctly, and we've seen the benefits of that, to be honest.
Tom, I wanted to speak to you about something. I'm going to work myself back with you, Mo, and Lev. And I'm going to start with you on this one because I know you do journalism work, and you know some inside infos and some of that. What was this armband scenario about?
Absolutely nothing, mate.
Like,
there's absolutely nothing to it.
I was watching a game on some on a website, and I didn't really see anything, and it was highlighted straight away. You see, sometimes I just think the minute Granit Xhaka does something a little bit, there's all of these talks. Oh, he's refused. Oh, he's done this. Oh, he said this. Oh, look what he's doing and all that. I didn't see anything of it at the time. What do you know about it? Can you tell us? Shed some light?
Yeah, look, my colleague Kai Karnak put on Twitter during the moment kind of a breakdown of this. And in short, Tierney was next in line to receive the captain's armband after Laka, which basically gives us an indication about who's going to be club captain next season. Looks like it's going to be Kieran Tierney. So Tierney's meant to accept it. He's in a different position. And as Nketiah comes on, Lacazette's not got the chance to give the armband to Tierney as he's coming off. He shouts towards him, but he can't hear him because, the crowd's giving Lacazette, ironically, a standing ovation as he comes off. So he gives it to Nketiah as he comes off and says, go give it to Tierney, because he doesn't want to seem to be wasting time and run over to another player or whatever, and you see the tactics. But when Nketiah comes on, Arteta tells him to go into the striking position. He doesn't want him to leave that role. So the nearest person to him that can then pass the armband on is Granit Xhaka. He goes to give it to Granit Xhaka, and Granit Xhaka doesn't want to take it because there's a throw-in about to be taken and he's focused on the game. So he's just like, hold on to it. For now, just hold on to it. And then when there's the opportunity finally to give it to Nketiah, to give it to Tierney, he does it, I think, at a Brentford corner or a corner for us, one of the two. But there's absolutely nothing to it at all. And it was one of those things where it's not, I guarantee you, if it wasn't Granit Xhaka that he tries to hand it to in that moment, and anyone does what Xhaka does, which is, look, hold on to it. I want to focus on what's going on because they're about to take a throw-in, which is completely professional. There wouldn't be this furore about it. But because it was Granit Xhaka, it created this narrative. He didn't turn it down. He didn't snub it. None of those words are applied to the situation. It was literally just a case of the armband was going to go to Tierney and Xhaka was closest, but the play was ongoing. And he just said, look, let's focus on this. Don't worry about the armband right now. And we'll carry on. It's a nothing thing that's blown up to something huge.
Yeah. Incidentally, I thought we had a good game, Granit Xhaka.
Yes, so did I. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, do you buy this version of story, or you think there's more to it?
I haven't seen it. So, I mean, I did not know.
Oh, you're putting Arsene Wenger there, yeah?
Yeah. But I didn't notice it at the ground at all. It didn't even, sometimes you think about these things, but I didn't even think, Lacazette's gone off. Who's going to have the captain's armband? It's actually something I would have been curious about. But I have to admit, is I'm listening to what Tom's saying. Not all of me buys it.
Why? I don't know. We're so conditioned. We're so conditioned as Arsenal fans.
I'm a bit thinking of is the part that
there's nothing to
he goes to give it to him and he says, no, I want to concentrate on a throw-in. You keep it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happens. Say he takes the armband, right, in that moment. Brentford do the throw-in and they run through and he's out of position and they score. We'd be absolutely gunning for Granit Xhaka in that moment for being out of position.
Tom, can I just ask you, when you accept a captain's armband, what sort of flipping routine do you need to do and how long does it take? You just grab it, stick it on.
I know it seems ridiculous. It seems utterly ridiculous, but he just said, look, he was coming towards him. He said no.
So hold on. You're telling us, sorry, Mo, but you're telling us that we're looking into things too much. But then at the same time, you're telling us that what you've just told us seems utterly ridiculous.
Yeah. That's not exactly what I'm saying. I think you're reading way too much into it. It's not. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing.
So you think you don't buy the whole thing more, yeah?
It doesn't make sense to me what Tom is saying. And I get that it might not be a big deal, but why Granit Xhaka refused it doesn't
He's
stack
taken
up.
it before, though. This is the thing. Like in the chat box, that the Sox guy says, have to disagree, Tom. Now we've heard whispers about Tierney being given the armband. I think Xhaka was salty about him no longer being captain. But he's taken it before. Like he's taken the armband off Lacazette, taken it off Aubameyang as the most senior player on the pitch. He's never had an issue with taking it back. But the club are not going to give it to him.
Since, all of the nonsense happened with him and stuff, he's done that. I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Look, I remember when Thierry Henry used to get fouled in the box and he used to give the penalty to Perez or someone else to take. And his reason was that because I've just been fouled, I don't feel like I'm mentally the most composed person to take that penalty in that moment in time. So he gave it to someone else. And I half got that. Do you know what I mean? I was kind of like, okay, I kind of see maybe what you're saying. Like, not all fouls are bad fouls or whatever. But I guess then he didn't always do it. So I half got that. This one, I don't get. It's the captain's armband. It's literally just 1 second job. So
you know when you thought we'd sign someone on deadline.
A couple of questions I like to ask. Right now, firstly, I was one of the ones that sort of reacted when I first heard, because I'm going to be honest, I was watching it on a stream, trying to find the game.
What?
I know. I feel awful. I've showered since, but the commentators were making a big deal out of it, but it's frozen, so I hadn't seen what had happened. So you could hear the commentary, but I couldn't see the picture. And he was saying, you say it's all being blown up, but it's the media that blew it up. It was the pundits that, or the people that were, at the game, commentating on it. They made it into a big deal, because after, when I watched it back, I thought it's a bit much ado about nothing. However, I do think he turned it down, and the reason I think he's turned it down, it could be down to the fact that it's awkward after what's gone on. He's thrown the armband to the ground. Why would Nketiah take it before? Wait, why would Eddie?
He has become captain after that.
Why would Eddie take it to him then? If it's
because he's the nearest guy. Because he's the nearest player to him.
And so what? So then he's asking him to take
the striker, giving it to the midfielder to give it to the defender. It's just a pass the parcel scenario. It just passes the next person to the next person.
So what? Okay, then what other reason have you got then, Shaheen? You clearly don't think. You think there's something behind it, right? What's your reasoning?
I'm with Mo on this, because you see what Tom says, right, to me, and I know this is not Tom. I just want to emphasize on this, right? This is not Tom's story. This is something somebody else has reported. So,
and what Arteta's told us as well.
It's a playground excuse.
Occam's razor, mate. Like the simplest answer is always.
It seems like a story that the club will come out with after the game, just to make sure that
Shaheen, do you not think Arteta would have been pissed with him if he did something like that, though?
Yeah, but he's not going to come and show it after the pitch after the game on the pitch, is it?
You know what? I don't really care that much.
It's a playground excuse. I came to give it to him. He was next to me, but I didn't want to. And he said, "No, I want to concentrate on the game." That's what it seems like to me. But maybe we are reading too much into this. It makes no difference.
I think the media do make most of it.
While we're on this topic, did you see the video that went around? Because it's good for kind of reading into things. Did you see the video on your social feeds? A lot of people retweeted it, of when Alexis Sanchez scored against Crystal Palace. I think it was back in 2016 or 17. And Thierry Henry's on Sky Sports commentary, and he points out how only half of the team go and celebrate it with him.
Yeah.
Do you when I saw that, and kind of we're talking about kind of reading into things, and I think the caption for the quote was like, you see kind of the difference being made about the culture in the side, and kind of the accountability, but the togetherness as well, the group, and how they want to celebrate with one another. Like, do we read into that as well? Do you think there's reason to?
Well, I've seen that clip. I'm not sure if that's a cultural thing necessarily.
That was Alexis not being liked. Do you think that's what?
Yeah, I think it was just that. Alexis Sanchez was another level at Arsenal, and I feel ridiculous. Like there was no one, if anyone, on his level at the club, and that was
the closest one was probably Ozil, no?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was him at his peak. I don't think we've probably ever seen a better Alexis Sanchez in his career.
Yeah,
he was incredible at Arsenal, even the Barcelona days, because he was never that main guy in the same way that he was at Arsenal, and he's never hit the heights since. So I feel like he was just, that brings out a positive side in some people, brings out a negative side in others. Like, let's say Mohamed Salah. I don't think people necessarily find him difficult to work with now that he's at the peak of his powers, but people did find Alexis difficult to work with. And perhaps the culture at Arsenal, I don't think there's evidence of the celebration in the problematic culture, but the culture was that people weren't pushed to get to Alexis's level. it was okay with Alexis being the exception. So, he stuck out like a sore thumb. But I think, he just wasn't liked as a result of the way that he was, his intensity and fire that he had. And that's what that was a reflection of. So I don't buy the fact that Arteta has drastically changed the culture, but I think he has improved it. But I don't think we need this comparison to that celebration to prove that. Okay. I think we can all see that there is a bit more togetherness and happiness. But when you think about the hardship Arsenal have had to go through, the amount of players that have been exiled, the amount of sort of like disagreements and stuff, it hasn't been easy. So it's not that Arteta's done this in this amazing way. He's just kicked players out and out and out and out and out until there's a togetherness.
Okay, guys, this video is being broadcasted on Mo's channel and obviously on the Arsenal Lounge as well. So please hit the like on a video. It helps us. I can see about 260 something people are watching, and it's only about 33 likes. So please hit the like button, and obviously subscribe to Mo's channel, Mo Haidar. You can see him after games with after game reaction. Tom, that does daily show on the Guna Talk TV, and obviously the best one out of the lot, Arsenal Lounge. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to ask you a question, just a yes and no, please. Lev, do you think Granit Xhaka will be at Arsenal next season?
No.
No?
No.
Tom?
No.
So full house then.
Probably will though, won't he?
Yeah?
Probably will though, won't he? Like, we're all saying this out of optimism.
Let's start with you, Tom. Should we get excited about top four? Because we were talking about this on the last show with Mo and Levin. On a previous show to that, we all predicted where Arsenal would finish. And not a single one of us got top four. I said fifth, you said fifth, Lev said seventh, and Mo said sixth.
I think.
You say sixth. Well, me and you said fifth, and Mo and Lev said sixth. So none of us obviously thought we'll finish in the top four. Do you think there is grounds for optimism that this will change? And just before you answer, let me just read out Wayne Sage Kind super chat. Thank you, Wayne, for your super chat, man. Much appreciated as always. Actually, I think it was part of the culture. When Bellerin said Sanchez wanted to win too much, I realized mediocrity was their culture. Thank you, man. Thanks for your super chat, Wayne. As always, thank you for your support. Go on, Tom.
I think that I feel like it's weird. It's not that it's a bad question. It's funny. It's a weird question because, like, surely we should be optimistic. Surely we should be hopeful and excited and wanting to get up for the idea of Arsenal finishing in the top four. Do we have a right to be optimistic? Well, look at where we are on the table. Look how many points we've got. Look how many games we've still got to play. Look at the teams that we've got to play compared to our opposition. I think we've got a really great chance of getting in top four. You look at the consistency. Like, we've dropped points in 2 games since with the loss at Everton in the league. I think that we've only dropped points in 2 games since then. So we're on a consistent run right now. Like, there is an element of consistency. Yes, there's problems. Yes, there's things that are going to cause us obstacles on our path to trying to achieve this. But yeah, I am optimistic about it. If you were to ask me where we predict to finish, I say 5th out of safety, and kind of more so about not getting my hopes up so much that I'm massively disappointed. Is it a failure if we don't get top 4? Is an interesting kind of discussion.
Yeah, well, Thierry Henry said is a failure.
It is.
I agree with you.
I don't know if it's so cut and dry about whether it's a failure. I think it would be a disappointment if we didn't get top 4. I'm not sure whether it's a failure, because if you said at the start of the season, is finishing 5th a failure of the season, I would have been like, no, not a chance. Look at what Man United have done. Look how much they've spent. Look at the 4 teams that should be finishing above us. So, no, I wouldn't describe it as a failure. I'd describe it as a really big disappointment based upon, the realities we find ourselves in now and the things that have changed across the course of the season. But we're here by our own merit as well. We've won big matches and picked up big points so far this season. If we beat Wolves, say, on Thursday, I think it's the first time in 9 years we would have done the double over them. There are things happening this season. We're picking up points in games that we didn't used to. You know, we're giving games against Man City. Like, we were so close to getting something against Man City this season. We're nearly knocked Liverpool out of the League Cup across 2 legs. If we'd have, you know, just been a bit luckier in the semi-final and taken our chance at the start of the game. Yes, we had a rubbish 3rd round in the FA Cup against Nottingham Forest, but it was a massive. I think there are big reasons to discuss why we did lose that game. But I just think there's a lot to be optimistic about with this season, and what we've seen so far gives me that optimism that, yeah, we absolutely can, mate. We absolutely can go for top 4, and we should be optimistic about it.
Okay. Do you think Scott McTominay should have got sent off last night, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. A friend of mine, Ben Browning, put on Twitter, you might have seen his tweet, but Scott McTominay made 6 fouls, which is the same amount as the fouls that have led to our last 3 red cards. So it's just quite funny, wasn't it? Yeah.
Mr. Hader, is it a failure if we don't finish in top 4?
It's a really interesting question. The answer is yes. At Arsenal Football Club, if you don't win a domestic trophy and you don't finish in the top 4 and qualify for the Champions League, it's a failure. But that becomes quite an emotional subject, because people are sort of saying then, you know, if you're saying it's a failure, who are you attributing that failure to? I'm not saying that Mikel Arteta has failed if he doesn't get top 4 this season. But what I am saying is that it's a collective failure of many, many years. That's who I attribute it to. So I would not be saying sack the manager. I'm saying that it's a failure in terms of what we've done in the January transfer window. It's a failure partly owned by Arteta, partly owned by the culture at the club, the Cronkies, you know, that have put us in this position. And we've been failing for many, many years. It's not that all of a sudden this season's the failure and last season wasn't. But these are my expectations. Any season we don't meet them is a failure. And I think that when Thierry Henry is saying it's a failure, these are the standards that he's used to. In fact, his standards are probably higher than mine, because top 4 probably would have disappointed him, you know, rather than instead of them fighting for titles. So yes, it is a failure, but 2 things can be true. It can be a failure based on what our expectations are for the club, and it can also be an improvement on last year. So it can be in the right direction. And that's how I'd say, that's how I'd kind of conclude on that issue if we were to finish 5th.
Okay. Lev?
Top 4, if we don't make it, I think it's a missed opportunity. So I would consider it a failure. And the reason I think it's a missed opportunity is because, right, okay, we can all say here that we weren't expecting to be in the top 4 race initially. But then we seem to be gelling as a team, and we've got there, and results went our way elsewhere. Teams had games in hand, wasted their games in hand. We worked ourselves into a really strong position, and I think that had we committed to get somebody to fill that void in the centre forward position, I'd be a lot more confident. And I think we could have really done it, and I still think we can. But it's going to very much depend on the likes of your Smith Rose. Arteta really needs to work out somebody to score goals for us, to see us through the rest of the season. He needs to figure out a way we're going to make up for those goals that we're not getting from someone like an Aubameyang, who, regardless of whatever happened, had he got a run of goals, couple of goals back to back, suddenly he's that sort of player that would have had a spurt of goals to see us through to the full position. So the crucial element for me is Arteta needs to figure out this conundrum. There's talks of him playing Smith Rowe in a false 9, maybe. I don't know. And he's the one that seems to score the goals along with Saka. So if those 2 keep it up for the rest of the season, we can make top 4. But that's the concern. If we don't make top 4, I will see it as a disappointment. And the reason we haven't made it is we didn't add.
I would also say it's a failure, because at the beginning of the season, if somebody told me that Arsenal will finish in top 4, I would have break their hand off, and because there was no chance at the beginning of the season, especially with the starts that we had, that will be where we are. I thought it will be where we are today. The only issue I have is in January we found ourselves in the position that we were, right, and nothing was done to ensure we would finish in the top 4. That's my problem with this, and that's why I think if we don't finish in the top 4, it's a failure. Let me just read out a super chat from Perry. Thank you, Perry, for your super chat as always. Very grateful for your support, my friend. Guys, we need 20 points from 15 games to make top 4. I think to get us to 70 points. That's 9 wins, 1 draw. Very achievable in my opinion. Possibly. I'm going to ask you guys another yes or no questions. If we finish outside of the top 4, should the manager get the sack, Lev?
I would.
You would sack him?
I would. Yeah.
So you say yes, basically?
Yeah.
All right. Mo?
No, I wouldn't say so, because I don't see it going drastically wrong at this point to the extent that he deserves a sack. I think that he will deliver an improvement in the league this season. And I feel like in terms of a lot of players that have moved out, players that we've brought in, this is starting to look more like his team. And this is the point now where you derive the benefit of all of that work that has gone before. So where now I kind of feel like we are more of a serious outfit. We've seen that we're defensively more robust. We are churning out victories. Our form is fairly decent, really good home form. As he creates his own team in his own image, that's where we should start to see better football, a few more goals, better away performances, that sort of thing. So I feel like it would be almost counterproductive at this point to sack him with this arbitrary 4th place finish. I think we should be looking at his trajectory, and that is positive. So I'd keep him.
Fair
Tom?
point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you only get rid of him if he finishes outside the top 6 for me. I think you see what's going on. To be fair, we say, I think in the chat box, B have raises this point. I don't think they would sack him if they finished outside the top 6. I don't think they would, and they'd be absolutely wrong to if they didn't, because it's not showing progress. It's not showing that we're moving in the right direction. If we finish 6th, you have to ask the question, who are the 5 teams finishing above us and why, and definitely have a conversation about it. If we finish 5th, that's where I thought we would finish, and that's where I think we still will finish is 5th. But I think, again, we're moving in the right direction. We're moving out the players we should be moving out. We're getting in the players that we should be bringing in for good fees, not inflated prices that we've seen in the past. We're being linked to the right positions. We're not panicking in the market and signing someone else. We were gutted that we didn't bring someone in January, yes, but we didn't do that classic Arsenal thing of panicking and buying someone stupid and paying ridiculous wages on, someone like a Morata or something like that. We didn't sign them up to a 3-year contract. There are things going in the right direction. It's just, I think that people want to see the success more immediately and more short term, when actually this is kind of more of a longer term thing. But there needs to be accountability. And if we don't finish inside the top 6, he absolutely should go.
Shaheen, I think they're 2 different questions, aren't they? Whether they would sack him or whether we would sack him.
Absolutely.
Personally, myself, that would be my. But they're not going to sack him.
I agree. I think we all agree that they won't sack him if he finishes even 7th.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all agree that they should sack him. Let's look ahead on Thursday. Obviously, we've got a game against Wolves. Last time there was a little bit of handbags, should we say, after the game. They were not happy with the way we celebrated or whatever it is that Conor Cody came up with. That has added a bit of spice to the return game now this Thursday. And Wolves are one of our direct rivals for top 4, whether we like it or not. I watched them against Leicester, and they're beatable, but I wouldn't be surprised if they come to Emirates and beat us either. What's your thoughts on the game, Lev?
You're right. There's going to be extra spice. I don't know why so much was made of this celebration business, because when your team's down to 10 men and you manage to get through and come out from an away game with 3 points still, every team is justified to celebrate. I think it showed camaraderie. I don't think it was anything personal. But anyway, regardless, it's going to be a lot of sort of niggle and spice because of that. I still see us winning. Personally, to be honest,
we'll come to the predictions obviously towards the end. But just your thoughts on the game and its importance. And
the importance. Listen, the important. We need to keep winning. We need to keep getting those 3 points. This is the business end of the season. It's going to be a lot of pressure, and I want to see my team handle that pressure and deliver with another performance. If they do that, it's gonna further galvanize the rest of the fan base. We'll believe even more because we need to see it. We're too used to seeing our teams buckle over the last few years at the final hurdles, and we want to see a team with some steel and some spine. And I think we're getting there with this team. So it's paramount we get 3 points, in my opinion.
Okay. Guys, can I please ask you to hit the like on the video that you're watching? We've got about only 63 likes, which is nowhere near compared to the number of people watching. So please hit the like for us, and obviously subscribe to Arsenal Lounge, Mo Haydar and Tom's channel if you're new. Mo, what's your thoughts on the Wolves game?
Massive game. If we win, we have a game in hand on them anyway. So if we win, we are at least 5 points clear of them. And that's even if we lose our game in hand. So it puts that daylight, if we let them win the game, then we're one match day away from them overtaking us in the league. So I think that's what's at stake here. We either kind of say, look, we're moving away from you in that race for top 4, or we're saying, look, it's still a toss-up. And there's too many teams going for that top 4 for us to not be able to take advantage, for us to, continually have this battle with all these teams. Because if you're battling with all these teams, there's so many involved, it starts to become difficult. When you drop points, you've got no breathing space. We need to make sure. It's an absolute must-win. We need to make sure we've got that breathing space on as many teams as possible. And with this game, look, we've just gone and proven that we can go and beat them away, going down to 10 men. There should be no reason why we have any lack of confidence in terms of beating them at home. They will make it very tough. Obviously, it's going to be a low block from them, and they'll be very, very defensively disciplined. We know they are anyway. But listen, I think we will do the job. I think we will win. And it'll be very interesting to see how we celebrate and how they celebrate, depending on who wins. But what I would say is that on the whole celebration thing, there's two things, right? It either with the celebration, perhaps it's not so much a case of celebrating like we won the league, but maybe it's a reflection of the hunger that is present within this squad to achieve something, and whatever that might be, whatever the internal goal is that has been communicated to us. I want to see that level of hunger. So if they are over celebrating, perhaps that, and I'm not saying that they are, but if that's the perception, perhaps that is correlated to just how much they want it. Ruben Neves, looking at how Arsenal are celebrating this hunt for top 4, maybe it's just a reflection that Arsenal players seem to want it more than Ruben Neves does. So I'm happy if that's the case. If it doesn't mean that much to you and it's not going to make you celebrate in that same way, cool, that's fine. I want my players to want it more.
Okay. Tom, how do you see this game?
Oh, mate, if we score, I hope we knee slide in front of all their fans. I really, really do. I just want to see us knee slide in front of all and win the game and really go for it. I want to see his celebration being played across the tannoys at the end of the match if we win. Honestly, it's pathetic. It really is pathetic. I mean, what are you in the sport for? You can't celebrate a goal, can't celebrate a win. Celebrate like we won the league. I mean, Ruben Neves isn't, he's never won the Premier League, so he wouldn't know what it feels like, I suppose. So he's a little bit out of touch in regards to what those celebrations may look like. But yeah, I found it really strange. Like, it really bothered me, Lev. Like, I find it so odd. You're in this sport to win, and
why us? It's always like every other team celebrates. Why can't we celebrate?
And it's definitely changed my mind about his mentality as a possible signing as well. Like, for me, it was a toss-up between him and Tielemans and someone like Fabian Ruiz, who we're being linked to now. But if that's his mentality about seeing, like, another team winning, I get being a bad loser. Being a bad loser can be good. It can set you on the right path and be more motivated to get where you want to be. But, if you're going to start criticizing another team for celebrating a victory, I would really question where your head's at. So, look, it's going to be tough. They're going to be motivated. Thankfully, we motivated them to go and beat Spurs. So they did us quite a bit of a favour, to be fair, which was much enjoyable. And then they went and beat Leicester, although Leicester aren't really in the race as much as they are this season. And they've got Pedro Neto back, who is a fantastic talent. Yes, they've lost Adama Traore, but Neto is by far a player with a higher ceiling, in my opinion, and will go further than Adama Traore. So that is going to be tricky. Podence has hit form at the right time for them, scored his first goal of the season. I did find it funny how many people then thought we should sign him. I mean, he's 26 and he scored 1 goal this season. Now we should sign him. It's a classic thing of jumping on kind of the back of form. He's a decent little player, but I just think that, we have to win this game. I think it was Richard said in the chat box earlier on, it's an absolute must-win game. Every single game we have left is a must-win game. Every single one of them. We have 15 cup finals left of the season, and we have to make sure we pick up as close to maximum points if we want to try and get into the top 4. If we drop points in this game, it will be... I mean, obviously, we'll have to react to the game and see how the game plays out, of course, but it would be a huge disappointment. And it would be the first time we've done a double overhaul since, as I say, 9 years ago. So it kind of shows you...
Got a Brentford fan, Tom. You see this real yes.
I think he's saying honoured.
Thank you.
Yeah, but all horns.
Thank you, Ricky, for watching. There's a super chat as well from Perry. Again, thank you, Perry, for your support. Great hat-trick yesterday by Aubameyang for Barcelona. Brilliant finish for the first goal. Do you know what, Perry? I think I can speak for probably everybody here that we thought, we knew Aubameyang would go and score goals in Barcelona. And it's a shame that we couldn't get that out of him at Barcelona. Good luck to him, and I wish him well. I hope he does well in Barcelona. Should we do some predictions for the Wolves game?
I guess, yeah.
You got your notebook, Mo, or you?
No, he's using QuickBooks online now.
I've got a post-it note. I'll jot it down on here.
All right. Cool. Where should we start? Lev.
Yeah.
Go on.
Right.
Let's have a prediction.
I will say 2-0. There you go. Arsenal. At the Emirates.
Mo?
I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 to Arsenal.
Tom?
3-0.
Fucking no, 3-0.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
I'm gonna stick to my last result, 2-1. I was thinking maybe a draw, a 1-1 draw, but I'll go 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay, that's positive for you, mate.
2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, so 2-1, 2-1, 3-0, 2-0 we said that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Guys, please, if you're watching this on a replay, put on your comments, put your predictions for us as well. Tell us your lineup, what lineup you go for. Give us your feedbacks on the video that you thought that you just watched. We'll be going for about 57 minutes or so. Let's round things up. Tom, final thoughts?
I'm really looking forward to the game because mainly we're not going to have another game for another 9 days, and it sucks not having these games for so long. It really, really extends these weeks. It's painful. But we're not playing this weekend because, we didn't earn the right to play in the Carabao Cup final. So we've only got ourselves to blame there, I suppose. I'm looking forward to it. As I say, I'm optimistic about the season. What I will say is that I put a tweet out today kind of about the feel around like the fans at the moment. I find it really odd considering kind of where we are compared to last season. Like I tweeted saying the amount of pessimistic views of Arsenal I read and think I'm not really sure that football is for you. Like it's a sport, it's got highs and lows, and you're not entitled to anything. Sit back and enjoy it and try and be hopeful because I hate the entitlement that really just comes with this side sometimes. There's an arrogance about Arsenal at times that I just think we need to be a bit more realistic and appreciate there are other sides out there that are much better equipped than us, and we're competing pretty well. I think only Liverpool and Man City have won more games than us in the last 38 Premier League fixtures. Like we're on the right path, we're moving in the right direction, and I think there's a lot to be really positive about at the moment. But
and if you had to predict a winner for the Carabao Cup final,
weirdly feel like Chelsea will nick it for some reason.
So I think Liverpool.
Yeah.
I just think Liverpool are more informed than
I have just predicted 3-0 for our game on Thursday, so I'm not exactly accurate for a lot of
No, I don't want to score
an extra booty point for this.
Chelsea, yeah. Mo?
I think Liverpool will win it. I think they're on brilliant form right now. I've been thinking and saying for the last 2 weeks the title race isn't over. I think a lot of people have written Man City as the champions already. But I just felt as though Liverpool just going under the radar a little bit with just machine-like consistency. And I think that Chelsea won't have what it takes to knock them off their stride, because Chelsea in recent weeks have dropped a lot of points. They haven't looked that great, even in the Club World Cup, which is never that easy, actually, considering you think you're playing against teams that don't have the same budgets or whatever. They stuttered to victory there, just got past Palace on the weekend with the last-minute goal. They're not that impressive right now, and Liverpool, for me, are. So I think I can only see one winner.
What's that all about, Tom?
Oh, it's just like conversations in the chat box talking about.
He's been bitching with someone in this chat.
I love being in this chat box.
I've been focusing on that. He's some guy called Jim Jam, some other guy called Baxter. Admit it. It's like some of these guys get a bit serious.
Lev, what about you? Your final thoughts?
My final thoughts, let's just hope we keep the pressure on. We need to keep winning. We need to keep getting those 3 points. That's the way to get, obviously, to get to top 4. I hope that we have somebody that sort of surfaces in that team who takes the responsibility to shoulder the crucial goals when we need them, because it's going to be very much required. So I just hope that happens. I know what Tom's saying about playing, not playing again for 9 days after. But I'll tell you one thing that has been filling that void is seeing the other results, because right now, because this been so topsy turvy, and we're so involved that the other results matter that much. So where I would sometimes not be bothered about watching a game here or there, I'm actually constantly keeping an eye on things. So it's an exciting end to the season. Let's hope it stays positive. Thank you for the Lounge family for joining us, and it's been interesting to see what's going on in the chat. And also, I think I'm with Tom on this one. For some reason, I think Chelsea might nick this, the Carabao. So that's that. But other than that, all positive. There's one other person I wanted to address who said it was a horrible take when I was asked whether I would sack Arteta if we didn't make top 4. That's my personal opinion. That's my standard that I expect from my team. I'm not saying that Arteta, I've seen some positive elements in what we've got, but I think with what we've got now, a very, very good manager, an experienced manager, could do a lot with this team we have currently. So, I hope he stays. I hope he proves me wrong. And it's not a negative thing. I'm just saying that was my opinion. There you
go. Okay. For me, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for giving us your time. If you don't agree with something we say, you can respectfully disagree. There's no point coming and I see a lot of people in the comments, they write rubbish, absolute nonsense.
There is some shocking take.
There was some guy. He had to go at me. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, well, that's all right.
Well, I'm like, nobody's invited you to come and watch me, mate. If you don't agree with my view, if you don't like me, go watch something else. Go watch, the Guna Talk TV or something.
Look, mate, YouTube and Twitter are weird places. You're never going to please everyone, and it's what it is. People want to rise. People want to react.
I don't get the what's the word I'm after? The rudeness. If you don't like what something that I'm saying, you can come and write something that I disagree with you because of X, Y, Z. And me or Lev, we normally do respond to comments as much as we can. But you come and you start dishing out insult to Lev or me or you. Sometimes I see more, and I'm like,
I've not been insulted.
Why?
Shaheen, you enjoy doing this show, right? You have fun doing this show, yeah? You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're sitting here spending an evening with your mates.
You see the excitement on his face, Tom. Look at it.
Oh, every time. The comparison is that someone's taken time out of their evening to come on to YouTube and comment something abusive about someone else. So just compare how happy you are in your life compared to how you think their life is going. That's all I would say.
I just thought it would be common sense not to abuse somebody. That's it. But anyway, thank you very much.
Touch the nerve.
No, I'm not bothered about it. I'm just
clearly not.
I'm not, honestly. If I was, I would have brought it up.
Not bothered.
I would have blocked that person.
We're not getting to him.
I'm not bothered.
But Yeah, exactly. I'm above it. No. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for giving us your time. Have a wonderful evening. Please hit the like button, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Arsenal Lounge.
Pundit dude cracks me up. He talks like he's from the 18th century. Sorry, Shaheen. The pundit guy has come back. Look at this. He's here. Look.
We can rebuttal.
We can rebuttal your views. You're not above it. And I'm feeling like he's got one of those white gloves and he's slapping me around the face and asking me for a duel. Leave it, pundit. Anyway, sorry, Shaheen. You can.
Anyway, thank you for obviously being here, giving us your time, watching, and have a wonderful evening. Hopefully, we will see you guys next week Monday, and Arsenal would have beaten Wolves, hopefully 2-1. So I'll get more points. Anyway, have a wonderful evening, guys. Take care.
You fiend, pundit.